Have you ever wondered, why do Kikuyus hate Raila so much? Let me explain to you some of the reasons that have made Kikuyus hate Raila so much. So let us first of all describe politics, Kenyan politics. Kenyan politics is really about a struggle of individuals and communities to access resources. Political power is soon converted into economic power, and this economic power can also be converted in political power. So political power is exercised by the wealthy, by the few elite who get the opportunity to sit in front and control national resources. So starting from the days of Jomo Kenyatta, we had Raila's father, who was known as Odinga. So when Jomo Kenyatta became the president of this country, Jomo Kenyatta did his best to put his community members into key public offices, and at the same time there was demonization of the opposition, whereby Odinga was really made to look like the enemy of the people, the only enemy in Kenya. So given the fact that now when political leaders get into power, they use their powers to reward their loyal supporters. So Jomo Kenyatta got Kikuyu people into offices. People got land because of exercising what is called a blind loyalty and blind obedience. That role of licking the boots of the boss, regardless of the mud in which the boss was walking. So this kind of experience, we find it began with Odinga. We had what we call Odinga formed an opposition political party that challenged the government of the day under Jomo Kenyatta. So this is the genesis of Luo Kikuyu rivalry that has continued to exist to this day as I am speaking right now. So this enmity never died because Odinga and Jomo Kenyatta were once very good friends, but the events of the times really made them bitter enemies. So we see that what happens is that as time progressed, now political leadership was linked to resources. So given that Odinga became the enemy of the state, he was made in such a way to be the enemy of the people that constituted the presidency, or the tribes that made a president. So this is the same thing that Raila Odinga inherited in very many occasions and in very many situations. Raila has been portrayed by especially by Kikuyu politicians as the mountain that they must surmount, as the devil that must be defeated for them to get power and keep enjoying the fruits of power, because power is not something that is easily acquired, and it is something that can easily be lost. So these anti-Raila sentiments have been crystallized into people's minds for a very long time. This is the reason why even the first president's son, Mr. Jomo Kenyatta's attempt to turn the wave and turn Kikuyus to Raila did not work, because this is something that has taken a generation of hatred is not really destroyed in 1 minute. So this is why most Kikuyus did not even vote, because they could not just bring themselves to vote for Raila Odinga. This is because the anti-Raila sentiment has been going on for a very long time, especially in Kikuyu land. This is kind of sentiment has really won a lot of votes for politicians, especially in Kikuyu land, because most of them see Raila as the only enemy of the Kikuyus. So given this kind of opinion, it is very difficult to change the perception of someone and make them vote for Raila Odinga. That is very difficult. It's like trying to drink ocean water using your hands. So it's just impossible. So we have to note that such things take a lot of years of political practice to be established, and once established, it will take many years to deconstruct them, to really deconstruct these perceptions. We have to note that Raila has been in this political game for very many decades, and these many decades there are some people or communities that have formed permanent enmities with the person of Raila Odinga. So it becomes very difficult to really turn the wave around. So definitely see the Kikuyu Luo partnership is something that cannot really work, because we have seen Uhuru Kenyatta trying to really bring these communities together, only for the result at the ballot to betray him ruthlessly. So this kind of enmities, these are things that have been formed for decades. And given that I mentioned before, in this country, politics is a vehicle to power, and communities that have people in high ranks are able to get employment of their relatives. So you find that if a certain tribe is in a certain position, people will also want to maintain these positions for as long as possible. And one of the ways that people have really used to keep political power is keep pleasing the boss. And if the boss is from a certain tribe, is to keep voting for the boss. And if the enemy is from a certain tribe, is to keep fighting the enemy. And that is how now the resource game of this country keeps going on and on. So the hatred of Kikuyus to Raila is something that something that has been created by politicians, especially in Kikuyu land, who want to maximize the sentiments of the people and acquire political power for themselves. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe.